and welcome to the Clinical Liver Disease video series. CLD is an official digital learning publication of the AASLD. I'm Jennifer Wang, a transplant hepatologist at University of Illinois, Chicago, and social media editor with CLD. I'm delighted to be here with Dr. Emily Schonfeld, a transplant hepatologist and assistant professor at Cornell Medical Center, to discuss her article, Inpatient Management of Fluid Overload, Ascites, Hepatic Hydrothorax, and anasarca. Dr. Schonfeld, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here.
All right, to start, could you tell our viewers what the main takeaway from your article is?
I think the main takeaway is when to refer for transplant. We see a lot of patients who have liver disease and volume overload, and sometimes it can be tricky to decide when to really refer someone for transplant. And I think that referring early is always helpful and important, just to make sure we don't miss those patients or someone gets too sick to get a transplant.
Got it. And so how would you describe the main strategy of control volume overload in cirrhosis in the inpatient setting?
Well, specifically in this article, we kind of talk about three topics. One is ascites management, another is hepatic hydrothorax, and the third was anasarca. And so starting with ascites management, generally evaluating for the etiology of ascites is helpful at first to really confirm that this is truly from portal hypertension and not another etiology. And then the primary treatment for sort of all forms of volume overload and liver disease is diuretics, most commonly using a potassium sparing diuretic like spironolactone and a loop diuretic in combination, and then slowly titrating those up. Now, depending on how symptomatic someone is, that might push you to do a paracentesis to relieve ascites or aid in management of ascites, and sometimes a thoracentesis as well in someone who has a hepatic hydrothorax.
Got it. And then you mentioned early referral for transplant is important for these patients who are struggling with volume overload. And so when would you consider referring these patients?
I think part of it depends on obviously the MELD score. MELD score stands for Model for End-Stage Liver Disease. And often around a MELD of 15 is when we think about transplant, but really when someone has their first decompensating event, such as ascites or volume overload, you might think about a referral. But more importantly, if you're not able to control their volume overload, so if they have recurrent ascites despite maximal diuretics or the maximum tolerated diuretics, because unfortunately you're sometimes unable to titrate up diuretics all the way to the maximum dose that is recommended by the pharmaceutical companies. Or if someone has recurrent hepatic hydrothorax, which is usually even more difficult to treat with just diuretics alone, then those would be indications to consider a transplant evaluation and referral.
Yeah, definitely a challenging topic that we deal with quite a bit on the inpatient service and really affect the quality of life of our patients. And so this is a very important topic.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's helpful to know, helpful to think about. You always want to have that idea about when to refer in the back of your head.
Absolutely. Dr. Schonfeld, thank you so much for your insight and for this great review article on a very important topic. On behalf of all of us on the CLD team, I thank you again for your time. For our viewers, please visit us at www.cldlearning.com for more information. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.